Hi, for this video, I'm just talking about long games, so games that are long, and over the years there are plenty of games that are long, with a lot of content and lots of upgrades, lots to see, huge open worlds and all that. So again, do the basics, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Subscribe if you're new. Share the video. So like with long games, you have many games that go on for 10 to 20 hours plus. You got the Skyrim, The Witcher 3, you got the recent game, Horizon Forbidden West, you got the older God of War games, you got, Uncharted. So, a common trend with them too, like with these long games, is that they are story oriented, very story centric, very story centric. Usually, and like this story, like when the story is good, the story keeps you immersed. I'm gonna do a separate video on immersions, but again, immersion. The story keeps you immersed because it gives you like an extra layer to care. There is this extra layer of caring and wanting to play more. With these long games, usually like the story will have the usual beginning, middle, end. Specifically with God of War, for example, with the God of War game. Um, yeah, this is a recent graphic novel. I got of it. So with with a God of War, there is the beginning, middle, end, and there's long moments in between, long moments of exploring and seeing the world, like just seeing the world, hearing the dialogue, both in cutscene and out of cutscene dialogue. So like all these little things that add to the story. Red Dead 2, tons of story, tons of dialogue, lots of dialogue. It's like watching. It's like me watching. It's kind of like watching a Game of Thrones, dialogue filled with dialogue and context and backstory. So all of this too adds to the length of the game. And again, the story it adds immersion and replayability. So like it does add more replayability because you wanna replay the game and see, okay, playing it at the first time, you're gonna miss out on certain things. You're missing out on certain things, and playing it again, you're gonna get those little missed details. You're gonna you're no longer gonna be lost. You're gonna understand. Oh, okay, that makes more sense now. So again, with long games, you have the story. And Witcher 3, for example, okay, dialogue options. We can go on Witcher 3. With dialogue choices too, it does give you the alternate choice of how would you approach a certain scenario or situation. And this can make the story longer. So this itself makes the game longer because, again, replaying it, or you could make a save point go a certain way, or make a certain a major choice, see how that plays out, and so if you don't like how that played out, you can go back to that previous save point, and see how things could have turned out differently. So that right there makes the game longer. So again, it adds an extra layer of immersiveness and decision making, and the decision making is great in games. It's in Forbidden West. I believe it was in what's that game called? Dishonored 1. I can't remember, but yeah, you have them in. Near Automata as well had them too. Although most games don't have it, so most games don't have it where the dialogue is that changing. But again, along games, you have dialogue, you have story, again, replayability. Now sometimes long games they can't drag on a lot. They can't drag on. So again, long games are usually games 10 to 20 hours plus. they can drag on like in certain moments where there's too many puzzles, or you feel, you know, like with God of War, specifically God of Wars 1 and 2, there'd be lots of like puzzles and like kind of challenges, or lots of fights within a fight where you're just fighting enemies, and it drags on. Like it does drag on sometimes. Even like with the newest God of War, the God of War 4 had that same problem. But again, the puzzles, every time you replay the game, because the game is so long, you're gonna miss out on values and details. So the puzzles, they make it so you're like, okay, certain puzzles, every time you get to, it's like your first time getting to that puzzle, because you forget like these little details, but the puzzles, they feel fresh every time. But with there being lots of puzzles like in game, the game can drag on. Witcher 3, there's a lot of story. There is starting out like the first 3 to 5 hours, there is more story than like gameplay, like a cutscene moments than gameplay. In terms of like if you're sticking to the story path, but you can do side missions, and you know there's tons of exploring, but you're gonna be stuck in cutscenes a lot, and talking to this person or that person, and dialogue choices. So that adds to the length of it as well, and that can drag on. It does drag on. So in terms of long games, usually long games are big open worlds, right? Or action adventure sequences. With the open world, the bigger the open world usually, the longer the game. A vast example: Skyrim, or Red Dead 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, or this Horizon right here, Red Dead 1 even. So the big open worlds, they add to the length, because there's more to see and there's more to do overall. And not every, not all big open worlds like are good. Some of them lack certain details, or just lack chemistry. They just lack chemistry. Things don't go well together. But with great games like these ones here, with the long games, the open world does again give you more, like a sense of this is a real kind of virtual experience you're playing, and the length, it doesn't drag on as much. But like with a Red Dead 2, there's tons to do. Like there's about 250 species like of animals like in the game, and they give you obviously certain pelts, or they give you bonuses. So if you get the perfect pelt quality of a certain animal, you can craft these cool uniform sets, and they're not just generic looking uniform. They're really cool. There's snakes, buffalo, there's elk, deer, moose, skunk. There's so many, right? There turtles, alligators, birds, tons of birds, bears. There's all these species like in the game that add. Just looking for them adds to the length of the game, the long length of the game. So, and you're gonna be spending countless hours looking for those animals. Horizon Forbidden West, where you're fighting machines, these machine-based animals. With the Horizon Forbidden West, the great thing about it is you really want to go discover these machines, and it'll take a while. Because there's tons of machines in this one. With this being the sequel, they added a lot more. So just going looking for the machines, that's gonna add like an extra 5 hours. I don't know, 4 to 5 hours, or 3 to 4 hours into the game. Open world GTA 5, especially GTA 5, I love to drive around the world, see what's there, discover certain areas, and especially finding the cars. There's some nice ass cars in this one. I hope I didn't say 4. I said 5. I hope I said GTA 5. GTA 5, there's tons of cars, Bugattis and the Lamborghinis. They obviously can't call it that in the game due to copyright, but tons of supercars, and there's properties to buy, and people to meet, side missions to do, and yeah. So those things, they all add to the a length of the game. So, or even Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2010. I talked about this a lot recently, but tons of content, lots of content, tons of races, time trials, police time trials, police chase missions, racer chase missions, races like in general. You know, multiplayer as well. So that all adds to the length of the game, the game being super long. And again, with most long games, you can't play them. You gotta really play them like in spurts. So you gotta play them 3 hours at a time, and then I come off the game. I come back another time, 3 hours, or 4 hours even more. So I gotta play them in spurts because they do drag on. Sometimes playing a game for long hours, it can drag on, and it can kind of get tiring sometimes. But playing them in spurts, 3 to 4 hour spurts, you can really it's a lot easier to digest. So, anyways, this is just a part 1 for long games. So long games are really games with lots of content in them. I forgot to add Skyrim, but hopefully video 2 will have Skyrim. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching.